Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we will be quickly seeing how to set up your SLB and also your DNS in terms of working with your continuation towards installation. Now, do remember this setup requires you to have a separate VPC, so it's always better to have a separate VPC created for your installation. So once you have created a separate VPC named VPC-OCP with this default settings, make sure you configure all your servers in that VPC rather than the default VPC. So now I'm using default VPC on this demo. I'll just show you how it works like because anyways I'm not configuring it. So click on create cluster load balancer. So when you go to SLB, you will find a lot of load balancer over here, application network, and then you have gateway, and then you have cluster load balancer. So once you're in the cluster load balancer, go to instance, create a CLB, and in there you need to select where your servers are hosted. If it's hosted in Hong Kong, so just select that. And then Hanzong has a lot of primary and secondaries one, so you can select whichever one which you want to have it as a primary. And as it is multi-zone by default, which means that it will be deployed across two or more availability zones for reliability. So and select intranet for local network, and then select VPC. And if you have another VPC over here, you can select that another one. And then the data, the fee will be calculated based on the traffic, and then put in an instance over here and click on create. So this is going to be a paid item, so you will be charged this much. So pretty much that's what I've created over here. So you can see that the VPC status is, I'm sorry, the CLB status is running. Now, the next thing you need to do is like you need to configure the listener for this particular cluster load balancer. So here is just select the name. The name is automatically given as test as the name I've given that. You can modify that also later point of time if you have more suitable name. The next one is the listener. Listener is very, very important. So this is where we're going to add the port numbers. So that is currently node listener. And then the service group is also very important. This is where you're going to add our servers. So once you have this service popped up over here, because once you have created those instances, you will see those instances coming up over here under the VPC which you have created. So if you have created another VPC and then added the service inside it, which is always recommended, so you will see those items come in over here because your CLB will also be created on the same VPC. So in that way, you'll be able to see all the servers there. Now in this listener, you need to start adding listener one by one, and all these should be TCP. And these listeners are basically allowing you to access the port number to all the servers within that VPC. So the communication will happen throughout without any kind of a disruption. So which port numbers to be added? I've put this on the GitHub page as well. So if you see this, there's an image I've added called port underscore number. So these are the port numbers which needs to be added as part of your VPC configuration. So you have to add 6443, 443, and 80, and then 22623, 22 port numbers. So these are needs to be added as part of this, so that your system can gain access to it. So do remember to do that, which is very important. All right, so once that is done, then you'll be able to see all the servers having the listener address for this. And then make sure you modify the advanced settings and make sure you give consistent hashing. And then here you need to select source IP. So consistent hashing for hash factor source IP, you need to make sure that you should give this and then click on next. So once you've added all these port numbers, you will be able to click on next, and here you will be able to see the server groups. Now you would have already added the server group, so you can just select all the servers in the server group and click on next, and then it will do a health check whether those port numbers are listening or not, and then you can click on finish. And what will happen is like in this box you will see the listener name with the information of the servers which you've added. So you will see all the servers with the name port number of that, and the weightage of the port number. Weightage is 100, you don't have to modify that. So this pretty much confirms that you've added all these port numbers into your listener on your cluster load balancer. So once this is completed, then you can go ahead with the DNS. For DNS, you need to search for DNS over here. So DNS is called Alibaba Cloud DNS. So you see this option. So this is where we are right now. So once you're on the DNS, there are multiple options over here again for DNS. So if you just come to the overview, you'll see the actual layer of DNS over here. So we need to select the private zone of DNS over here. So you select the private zone and you'll be able to see the private DNS over here. So I've already created this. It's always recommended to have a separate VPC, and which is called as VPC OCP, and then have all your configurations like instances, your cluster load balancer, and your DNS configured with that VPC. So all you have to do is, like, once you're in the private zone, click on add zone, and then here you need to add two zones. One is 168.192 in ADR, so this one, and another one with your domain name. So you have to add another zone over here, beyondcloud.online. So this is what I'm using, and here from this you select the VPC and click on OK. So now once you selected the VPC, the one which you have selected by default, so you will see that it's coming in. If you're not selected, you can see the effective scope is not configured to any VPC. So you can click on effective scope and you can configure the VPC. So as of now, I'm using like the default VCP, which will not show up over here. Oh, it's showing up. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's showing up over here. So this is the one which I was using, so it's showing up. So you click on OK, and then you can see that we can continue operation over here, though it is throwing up an exception about resolution. So when you have a separate VPC, so you can use that. Now, how do we configure records? So the record needs to be configured. The A record needs to be configured for all of these zones. Okay, so for that, you need to go inside the setting of each of this and do repeat the process. So here you have to add these action item. I'm taking it from a reference from GitHub again. So this is the DNS configuration, which is again part of this file. And you have the names over here, which you need to configure. Just replace the domain name with the name which you're choosing, and you should add it one by one over here in the host name over here. So this makes sure that you have the items available for this one. So you need to add the host as that number. I'll tell you what you need to do. So this one, 25.1 as host, and here and the type as PTR point and IP address to a domain name, and then here you need to add the record value. Now record value should be over this one, api.beyondcloud.online.com. Sorry. So this is how it is, and the description you can add any kind of a remark, and then this is basically time minute. The time to live is 1 minute for the record refresh value, and then you can add multiple entries over here, like all these entries, and then add and continue. So this way you will be able to add all these records for both of them in one shot. Then you need to do it for your domain name, which we have done it like this. So here we have done it like beyondcloudonline.com. So once all this assignment of value is completed, you should be able to see some update on your installation, because this time after doing this, your installation should proceed, because until you do this, your installation will not proceed until the DNS is created. So once this is done, your thing should proceed, and you should be able to start up and work with your Openshift console. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.